On October 5th, 2019, two distinguished political pundits, one a Democrat, one a Republican, participated in an epic debate. We will show a replay of that debate, and then we will catch up with these pundits to see their updated views as of September 2021. Mr. Crat, please introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. My name is Mr. Crat, Mr. Democrat. I will be representing the Democrats today. Notice my attire. I have a helmet because I don't want any deregulated planes landing on my head like those 737 Maxes. Notice the slogan on my helmet, Save the World, because us Democrats want to save the world. Also, I have my mask on because I don't want to breathe the air of the black coal from the deregulated beautiful black coal. Also, I have sunglasses because, to be honest, I don't want you to know who I am because these Republicans are very mean. They might get upset with me and I'm a little bit scared of them. So I will hide the way I look. Okay? Now, some people think that the Democrats are highbrow or intellectual, arrogant. Well, just because we're maybe a little more educated doesn't mean we're better than you, okay? We respect you Republicans, but you're just wrong, and I will tell you why. My name is Mr. Crat, Mr. Democrat. Thank you.
Mr. Lecan, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Republican, and I will be representing the Republicans. I'll be telling you why the Republicans are the greatest party this country has ever seen. I'll be telling you why the Democrats are evil, and I'll be telling you why Donald Trump is the greatest man in the history of the universe. That's what I say. I'll be telling you.
First question. Describe your position on taxes. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
Yes, the Republicans are always accusing us of wanting to raise taxes. Well, we do want to raise taxes, but not for the poor, not for the middle class. We want to raise taxes for the rich. The rich should pay a little bit more money, don't you think? They have so much money. Just have the rich pay a little more, and then we can afford things like universal health care, so everybody can get medicine, things like that. We can have better education. It's good to have a little bit more money for the government. It's good if the government can do some things like regulate things so people don't die everywhere. Taxes are good, but it's just taxes for the rich. We want to tax the rich. We could build better bridges, better health care, better roads, lots of things with a little bit more taxes. So don't be scared of a little bit more taxes. It's more taxes for the rich, not for the poor. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
These Democrats, they're always wanting to raise taxes. They always have an excuse why they want to raise taxes. While they'll say they want to help the poor with health care, or they want homeless not to be out in the street and dying. They always have some kind of reason, like they want to save the world, like they want to have money for climate control. They'll think of any reason they can to raise the taxes because they're basically evil. They want to take the money from you and spend it on their own things. Now, we Republicans, we don't want to raise taxes. We want to lower taxes. Do you want to pay more money to the government? Who wants to pay more money to the government? Not me. So we Republicans, we lower taxes, especially for the rich. Because let's face it, the rich are the ones that have worked the hardest, they're the smartest, and they have gotten the money because they earned it in this capitalist society. You don't want to be punished if you're successful. If you go to a grocery store and you have money, do you want to pay more for chicken than if you're poor? No, you pay the same. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, you pay the same. That's the American way. Now, these Democrats, they'll think of every reason they can to raise taxes. But just remember, we Republicans, we want to lower taxes so you can keep all of your money, especially if you have the dream of becoming rich, if you win the lottery. You won't have to give all your money away. No, you'll keep your money. Because we Republicans, we're going to let you keep your money even if you're rich.
Next question. Describe your position on immigration. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
The Republicans are very scared of immigration. Well, we Democrats don't want to let anybody into the country. But you have to realize this country came from immigrants. Only 10% of our country is from the original settlers, or descendants of the original settlers. 90% of this country are immigrants or descendant of immigrants. So we want to have a fair immigration policy, not a policy of exclusion. This country wasn't based on the idea of exclusion. This country was based on the idea of letting people in so they could have a good life, so they could start over again. That's what we Democrats want.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
Oh my God, don't get me started on immigration. These Democrats, they won't allow anybody into the country. It's horrible. This country's full. We ought to have a lot of good people in this country. We don't need no more criminals. Okay? You believe Donald Trump when he says that. I have proof, okay? You watch the movie. You watch the movie Last Blood with Sylvester Stallone. You watch that movie and you'll see what kind of people those Mexicans are. Well, every single Mexican in that movie is horrible. Criminal, miserable, rapists, murderers. So, you watch that movie, Last Blood, Sylvester Stallone, and you'll see what kind of people those Mexicans are. And everybody else that's trying to come into our country. This is a great country. We don't need anybody else. Maybe if we have some rich people coming in that can help our country, that's fine. But we don't need any poor people coming into our country. Okay? We keep this country to ourselves. This is a Christian country. We don't need no Muslims coming in, no Jews, no anything. Just keep the country the way it is, okay? That's what we Republicans want. That's the safe thing to do. Don't let anybody in just because they want to come in. No, 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 no. We protect this country. This is a Christian, God-loving country, and we keep it the way it is. No Muslims coming in.
Next question. Describe your position on abortion. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
On the subject of abortion, these Republicans are always saying, we want to kill babies. We just want to give women some right to do what they want with their body. It's very hard for a young girl, maybe 15, 16 years old, she gets pregnant, and now she has to have a baby. Her life is ruined. And now we don't want abortions in the 4th month or 5th month, but if it's in the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that's not a human being yet. It's just a fetus. So it's okay. It's okay. It's better than having a baby that's unwanted and ruining the life of a mother. That's the opinion of us Democrats.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
Yes, these Democrats, they say abortion's okay. Basically they're saying it's okay to kill babies. That's what they're saying. Now they say women's rights. The women have the right to do anything. What? You have the right to kill a baby? No, you don't have any right to kill a baby. These are babies these are babies from Jesus, okay? God is the one that has the right for life and death, okay? God is the one that made the baby. You don't have any right to take away that baby, okay? Now, it doesn't matter if these girls, these young girls that have these babies, if they're upset because they're going to have a hard life now, well, it's too bad for them. They shouldn't have had sex, okay? Okay? We're Republicans. We don't believe in sex before marriage. You do the right thing. You get married and then you have sex. None of this have sex before marriage and then you get away from it by having an abortion. That's not the right way to do things. Now, if you're going to have sex before marriage and you get pregnant, well, you're going to have to deal with it because that baby came from Jesus and it's your God-given obligation to take care of that baby. No baby killing for us Republicans, okay? We're not evil like the Democrats. No killing babies, okay?
Next question. Describe your position on government regulation. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
Now, the Republicans want no regulation because they think it's good for business. And maybe it is true. It is good for business if they don't have to spend any money doing things that are safe. Now, let's look what happened before regulation. You had things like the Hindenburg blimp, which blew up and killed millions of people. You had thalidomide babies. You had all sorts of horrible things happening, like those 737 Max because they deregulated. You want to deregulate the air so everybody gets cancer. I mean, regulation, we need regulation. Otherwise, the businesses could do anything they want, and they will do anything they want. Now, the regulation has to be reasonable, not too regulated, not too under-regulated, just in the middle. That's what us Democrats want.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
God, don't get me started on regulations. These Democrats want to regulate everything. They want to take away the gas. They want to take away your diesel car. Why, they want to keep you from even driving a car. They say you have to get a small little baby car. They can't even buy a big car anymore. That's what these Democrats say. They say, oh, everything is regulated to death. By the time you finish with your regulations, you spend so much money on regulations, there's no more money for anything else. No, we don't need to regulate coal. A little bit of black smoke in the air ain't going to hurt nobody, and it's going to help a lot of people. It's going to give jobs and things like that. And as far as things like medicine and stuff, why, it's so difficult to even get a drug out because of these regulations. And regulations and the air, we don't, just because a couple of planes crash like those 737 Maxes, well, that's no reason to have lots and lots of regulations. Regulations cost money. They hurt the rich. They hurt everybody. They raise taxes. They just cause a problem. Let's roll back these regulations, okay, so we can sell any kind of medicine we want, put any kind of plane in the air we want. Well, if we have a nightclub, don't worry about whether there's a fire extinguisher or things to put out the flame. Because if a few people die, that doesn't matter in the long run of life. As long as we get the rich get to be richer and there's lower taxes, that's the important thing. You have to keep your you have to keep your eye on what's important. Okay? So, no regulations. The Democrats want regulation, because they're evil. That's why. So we Republicans, no regulations.
Next question. Describe your position on gay rights. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
Us Democrats are the party of inclusion. Now, if somebody wants to be gay and have sex with a man or a woman or whatever, why do I care? Live and let live, that's what I say. It doesn't matter to me what people do behind closed doors. And lots of good people are gay or lesbian. They can serve in the military. They could be good people. They could be very competent. Many gay people are very good at what they do. So why do we want to exclude them? No, we want to be the party of inclusion. Let people do what they want behind closed doors. It's not my problem.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
I don't know why these Democrats are so big on gay rights and this LBGQT or whatever they call it. Look, God didn't design people to have gay sex, okay? He designed heterosexuals, marriage, so we can make babies, not so we can have sin. Now, some people even want gays in the military. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Now, we don't need any gay rights, okay? Gay rights are a bunch of
Baloney.
If you're a Christian, a God-loving Christian, you're going to know that the correct thing is marriage between a man and a woman, not between a man and a man, or a girl and a girl. That's disgusting. Now, we Republicans, we are the party of God, and God says woman with a man and marriage. No sex before marriage. That's a crime. That's a crime before God.
Next question. Describe your position on gun control. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
The Republicans are always saying we want to take away all your guns. Well, it's a little bit true. We want to take away some of your guns. We don't think you should have an AK-47 so you can go around killing hundreds of people. That doesn't seem right. But you can have a gun in your home to protect yourself. But statistics show that countries with less guns have less violence and less killing. We have so much killing now in this country, and we have all these school shootings from these kids because they can get a gun so easily. Look, we don't want to take away all your guns, but we want a reasonable gun policy. We want background checks. We don't want any criminals getting guns. We don't want any AK-47s around. Let's just have a reasonable gun policy. That's what us Democrats want.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
Yes, these Democrats, they want to take away our guns. They want to take away all our guns. Now listen, we Republicans, we say, keep your guns. We have the right for guns. The Second Amendment says that we have the right for guns. And that just means any kind of gun. It just doesn't mean little tiny pistols, okay? If we want a AK-47 to protect ourselves, we have that right. Now these Democrats, they're going to say that there's a lot of killing in schools and things like that. Well, listen, guns don't kill people, people kill people. And we need those guns so that we can kill the people that like to kill the people. How can I protect myself if I don't have a gun? Now, those Democrats, they want to take away all your guns, every single one. You'll have no way of protecting yourself. We Republicans, we say keep your guns, keep all your guns, AK-47, no problem. If you vote for Republicans, we're going to keep your guns. There's no problem, okay? Don't let the Democrats take away your guns.
Next question. Describe your position on climate control. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
Now, the Republicans don't want to believe the scientists. Gee, it seems to me scientists are pretty smart. They developed TV, they developed cars, jet planes, they've gone into space. Medicines, all sorts of things scientists have developed, and yet the Republicans don't want to believe them. Now, these scientists, they're very smart people, and they've looked at the math, they've looked at the science, they've looked at the physics, and they say if there's too much carbon emissions, the temperature is going to go up, and this is going to be very bad for our world. Now, I admit, it may not be bad for me. I'm old already. Maybe if you're 50 years old or older, you don't care. But what about the children? What about the future generations? Do you want to make life miserable for them? No. Us Democrats, we want to care about the future. We want to care about our children. So we say, try to protect the environment, cut down on emissions so that the global warming stops and we can have a future for our children. That's what us Democrats want.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
Let me tell you something, this climate control, it's a bunch of hogwash. It's just another excuse for regulations and to raise your taxes. Now the Democrats, they say they have the science that they know that the world is heating up. Well, I'll tell you something, yesterday in Minnesota it was 10 below zero. What kind of global warming is that? Now listen, science is fine when it helps to figure out things like making a cell phone or nuclear bombs so we can protect ourselves. Science will work then, I admit it. But listen, science isn't always right. I can prove it. The Bible says that everything was made 7,000 years ago, all life. And I believe the Bible. The Bible is fact, okay? And these scientists, they say the dinosaurs were made millions and millions of years ago. So how can the scientists be right? I just proved that they're all wrong. Now, this climate control business, it's just an excuse for regulations. The Democrats love regulations. Why? Because they're evil, that's why. Now, we don't need all these regulations, all this climate control. We want to let you lower your taxes and keep your money. And if you're rich, we want to let you burn coal so you can make more money. Because we don't want to take your money from you. That's what the Democrats want to do. So we don't need no global warming, climate control, regulations. That's a bunch of bull.
Next question. Describe your position on allowing prayer in public schools. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
Now, many Republicans want to have prayer in school. Now, there's nothing wrong with prayer in the privacy of your church or your home, but this is a country of separation of church and state, because the people that came to the United States, the original settlers, they were persecuted because of their religion and belief. So the United States, the founding fathers in their wisdom said there's a separation between church and state. So religion cannot have anything to do with the state, with the laws of our country. Religion is separate. Now, if you want to be Christian and pray in your church, that's fine with me, but don't force everybody in the schools to pray to your religion. How would you Christians like it if the Muslims insisted that they pray to Allah in the school? You wouldn't like that. So prayer is okay, but just not prayer in school. That's all we Democrats are saying.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
Yeah, these Democrats, they don't want any prayer in school. These Democrats, they think that Muslims should pray and Jews should pray. Well, they'll let anybody pray except us Christians. Now, they Democrats, they'll say this stuff like separation of church and state. But everybody knows this is a Christian country, okay? And these Democrats want to stop our children from praying to God. Now, what are these Democrats? They're evil, that's what they are. I think they're atheists. I don't think they believe in anything. Now, as a Christian, we want to pray to Jesus. And we have that right to pray to Jesus. This is our country. This is a Christian country. So why are these Democrats telling us we can't pray? That's because they're evil.
Next question. Describe your position on universal health care. Go ahead, Mr. Crat.
Listen, it seems to me nobody should have to die because they don't have enough money. That's why we Democrats want universal health care. It's a big stress having to worry about that you might get sick and you don't have enough money. That's not the way to live life. Every single civilized Western country has universal health care except the United States. Now, the Republicans are always saying that we'll have to raise taxes to have universal health care. Well, that might be true, but we're going to raise taxes for the rich. The rich are paying too much tax, are paying too little taxes, and the middle class are paying too much. Lower the taxes for the middle class, raise them for the rich, and we can pay for health care. That's all we Democrats are saying.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
These Democrats, they want health care for everybody. They want free health care. What do you think this is? You think this is a socialist country? Well, socialism is next to communism. These Democrats, they want to force you to have the doctor that they tell you to have. Okay? They don't want to let you even choose your own doctor. They just want to force you to pay taxes, and they want to tell you who your doctor is. And it's all an excuse to raise taxes, because that's what these Democrats love to do. They love to raise taxes. Now, we Republicans, this is the way it's been for a long time. We've never had health care, standard health care for everybody. So even the poor people that don't work at all, they can get saved. They can get medicine and go to the hospital, and they get free health care. At whose expense? At my expense, at the working people's expense. That's who. Now, if you're a working person, you can pay for health care of your own choosing, not who the Democrats tell you. The Democrats just want to raise taxes. That's all they want to do. Just remember that. All they want to do is raise taxes. They'll think of every reason they can to raise taxes.
Last question. Tell me what you think of Donald Trump. You first, Mr. Crat.
Us Democrats believe that Donald Trump is the worst thing that ever happened to our country. He's a pathological liar. Everything that's true is false, and everything that's false is true. And he only cares about himself. He has a history of not paying all the people that work for him. He does everything for himself, not for the country. We Democrats can't understand why the Republicans like him so much. He's a criminal. He's a criminal, and he's a bad person, and he's a person that only cares about himself. He's a person who will say anything and do anything for power. That's what he is. Why don't you see through him? Why don't you Republicans see through him? Even if you believe in Republican values, you should understand that Donald Trump should not be the person that you endorse. We Democrats just don't understand it.
Go ahead, Mr. Lecan.
Donald Trump, he's the greatest president we've ever had. These Democrats, they're always trying to find a reason to get after him. They're always making excuses, fake news, because they can't stand how good he is. He's done more for our country than anybody else. He's rolled down regulations so we can do anything. And he's lowered taxes for the rich. That's very important, because if you do well, you don't want to be taxed for doing well. Donald Trump is the greatest man I've ever seen. And these Democrats, they just want to put him down. I don't know why. I guess they're evil. I just guess they can't stand when somebody's strong and knows what he wants and wants to keep out the riffraff and things like that. They want to put him down. Donald Trump is the greatest man I've ever seen. We love Donald Trump. Nobody will tell me that I don't love Donald Trump, okay? Donald Trump is God as far as I'm concerned. Well, next to God, not really God, but next to God. Next to God and Jesus, it's Donald Trump.
In September 2021, after almost 2 years, we caught up with Mr. Crat to hear his latest thoughts. Hello, Mr. Crat. Good to see you again. Hey, last time we talked you were wearing a helmet. No helmet this time. Why is that? Yeah, the 737 MAXs have been recertified, so no longer any need for the helmet. I'm not afraid that the planes are going to drop on my head. Last time we talked, you were wearing a face mask also, yet it was before the pandemic. Can you explain that? Yeah, maybe I was clairvoyant and I had a feeling that the pandemic was coming. Or maybe I was part of the deep state and I knew that the COVID-19 thing was coming. I was part of a conspiracy. Or maybe it was just a coincidence. Part of a conspiracy? What do you mean? Yeah, we here in the deep state developed the COVID-19 virus along with the vaccine, knowing that all the anti-vaxxers would not take the vaccine and they would all die off. And then we would put the chips in the vaccine and all the other people would take the vaccine and have the chips inside them and then we would control the world. Good grief! So what do you think of the state of the world now, Mr. Crat? Good grief is right. I thought things would be better once Donald Trump left office, but things are more crazy than ever. You have all the crazies coming out. Donald Trump let the cat out of the bag, and the world is just getting crazier and crazier. I don't know what to think anymore. So, Mr. Crat, what do you think of this whole Stop the Steal / the big lie thing? What do you think of it, Mr. Crat? The big steal? Give me a break. The big lie, you mean? The big steal. You know, Donald Trump, he made this whole thing up before the election even took place. He probably knew he was going to lose, and he said, look, here's what we're going to do if we lose. Then he just makes up a story, and he gets these people like Rudy Giuliani and the Pillow Man and Sidney Powell to go along with him, and it's just complete bull. There's nothing to it, and yet all these people believe it because all these people want to believe it. If you want to believe something, you'll believe it, I guess. And I don't know why these people they're so for Donald Trump. They'll believe anything. That's the way it goes. I just don't understand it. Mr. Crat, what are your thoughts on the pandemic? The pandemic? Oh my God. You know, if Donald Trump had just taken the pandemic seriously from the beginning, probably at least 100,000 less people would be dead. As far as I'm concerned, he murdered 100,000 people. And now you have all these anti-vaxxers. They won't take the vaccine. but when they get sick, they run off to the hospital. They trust the hospital to save them when they get sick, but they don't trust the technology before they get sick. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just too crazy. What are your thoughts on the withdrawal from Afghanistan? Yeah, I agree with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. I think it was a good thing. I think Joe Biden put America first. Donald Trump was always talking about America first, but he didn't have the guts to get out. And Joe Biden did have the guts to get out. So I don't know. If you're a Donald Trump, if Donald Trump did this, they'd all be yelling, "Wow, wow, wow!" But now they're focusing on the fact that the withdrawal didn't go as smoothly as it should have. And I'll admit it that they kind of screwed up the withdrawal. There's no doubt about that. They could have done a better job withdrawing. But nevertheless, they got out. Joe Biden put America first. They got out. And I think it was a good thing. Thank you, Mr. Crat. In September 2021, after almost 2 years, we caught up with Mr. Lee Khan to hear his latest thoughts. Hello, Mr. Lee Khan. Good to see you again. How's it going? Terrible. Since Donald Trump, our rightful and true president, was illegally removed from office, things have been going downhill. They've been falling apart. We need Donald Trump. He's our rightful president. He's our true president. And he's not in office and everything is falling apart. Joe Biden is totally incompetent. We need Donald Trump. So, I take it you think the election was stolen? Are you kidding? Of course the election was stolen. That's obvious, isn't it? Listen, you got a lot of brilliant people, and they know what they're talking about. You got people like Rudy Giuliani, the Pillow Man, Sidney Powell, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Margaret Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. Now, Matt Gaetz, he's a good man. He loves children. These people are the brightest of the bright, the best of the best. And if these people say that the election was stolen, I believe them. I believe them 100%. There's no way that all these brilliant, smart people can be wrong, okay? Mr. Lee Khan, are you vaccinated? Am I vaccinated? Are you kidding? I'm not falling for that thing that the Democrats are doing, that deep state thing where they want me to get vaccinated and they're going to put a chip in me and make me magnetized so they can lift me up with one of their big magnets. No way, Jose. I'm not getting vaccinated. And I don't even think this pandemic is real. I think it's all a thing that was made up by the Democrats to raise taxes. That's what I think. What do you think of the withdrawal from Afghanistan? Do you agree with it? Afghanistan? I can't believe how incompetent he was when he left Afghanistan. I mean, people were killed. It's unbelievable. I mean, look, Donald Trump had a chance to get out of Afghanistan, but he knew he would be totally incompetent. So he was competent enough to know that he would be incompetent, and he didn't get out of Afghanistan. Now, Joe Biden, he thinks he can do something that no other president does. He's trying to copy Trump and say America first, so he finally gets out. And look what happened. It's a total disaster. Oh, no, 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 no. Poor Joe Biden is a disaster. Oh, God, we need our rightful president back. Our rightful president, Donald J. Trump. We need him. We need him bad. Thank you, Mr. Lee Khan.